Welcome back. You've made it this far. Congratulations, my friend. So let's get right into it, shall we? So, what you do, why you do it, the planetary arrangements, and the different ways that you can structure your behavior in relation to the zodiac states and the planetary states that we've talked about in the previous lesson. Now, this one, rituals have 7 to 8 parts. Rituals have the opening, they have the calling of the different things, they have the spell, or they have the divine inclusion, they have the cleansing, and then they have the release of the information, they have the release of that, they have the closing of that, they have the leaving of the temple. Now, when you go through and you're creating a ritual, you're looking for elements that allow you to repeat the action to achieve the same result time and time again. So going through your signature talk and memorizing the key points to it, the story, or why you do business, or how that product serves, is one of the most important things that you can do as a business owner. It's one of the most important things you can do as a salesperson too. But it's about the environment that you create, so that what you do and why you're doing it allows for not just the entrainment on the who, rather the entire environmental ecosystem is for the what. So what you're doing, how you do it, and why you set it up gives you that next level of connection. Because when you have a ritual environment, you're able to do multiple things at once. You're able to create a gateway, a pathway from which energy from you can open up into somebody else's world, and whereby you can summon to you that energy from somewhere else. So the path to them from you, and from them to you, you create in a cyclical arrangement. You're creating the great gates. And so when you do that on purpose, when you've got to flow through your copy, the words that you use to get their attention in the first place, I'm looking for people of faith that are neurodivergent business owners, people that think outside the box, because I believe that people that think outside the box are more capable to process this information in a way that won't corrupt the journey. Because if they're men of faith, if they're women of faith, if they're people that understand that they have a faithful application of what is divine in others, that they have to be stewards of that, and they have to serve to that with their highest capacity, then the application of mentorship, that the application of these things becomes viable for them. And so it's in this journey, and it's on these threads of thought, that I provide a very simple follow-up lesson to the one on spells. The spell is everything. It conditions the environment. It's what causes change accordingly. It's how you structure your signature talk. It's the repetition of that action. It's the repetition of that service, so that as you show up, as you go through the process over and over and over again, you get better at its delivery. You film hours and hours of video content. You send it off. You fail. You piss people off. You fucking deal with it, and you figure out a way to get better at it. So that as you serve, as you show up, as you come back over and over again, you have a thing on your heart to develop. You have a thing that requires you to be more dedicated than anybody else around you, because you know that the information that you provide is life-changing. You know without a doubt that once you get that system in operation, that you can serve, and it'll help. It'll change the way people think about their economy. It'll change the way people think about their business. It'll change the way that their business can interact with other businesses, so that they create a collaborative network, so that there is a pathway for the divine to manifest within your ritual chamber, which is your shop, which is your widgets, that you're able to bring the divine influence through those, because it serves people in a higher way. It serves them better. It serves them where they're at, where they want to go, why they want to be there. It opens the way for them to have a future that they want, and they have to be able to engage in that ritual process time and time again. So if it comes to selling a course or coming through the listening to an audio book or a podcast or information that you deliver time and time again, so that you can show up and you can demonstrate that you have the ability within you to take this information and keep applying it in better ways, in firmer ways, in more applications than you can possibly shake a stick at. So it doesn't have to be delivered rapidly. It doesn't have to be delivered slowly. It doesn't have to be delivered on a drip feed, but it has to be delivered, and it has to be trained, and it has to be demonstrated over and over and over again that what you're doing and why you're doing it matters more than what you're doing in the meantime. Yeah, this is why you practice. This is why you practice in live time, so that way the people around you get to know who you are. So as you fuck up and you have your failures, you're still trying. And people care about that more than they care about it being perfect. They care about the journey you're on because they're also on a journey. You take them with you on your journey. You give them a ritual that they can do. At 4 a.m, you can sit outside and you can do deep breathing exercises. 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out. Separates yourself for 3 breaths from what you were doing before. Creates a pause, creates a moment. And if you can understand the pause and the moment and the break, and creating space for something, then thought can fall in. Then there is the ability to get somebody in their head, but you get them in their head and you give them the means and the tools to get them out of their head. You've given them nothing but a well of thought. Now you have to provide a ladder for them to come out of that well of thought. What do you do next? You have to give them a journey. The ritual of business is the journey they go on. How many times do they have to listen to your podcast? How many times do they have to go through your course? How many times do you have to understand this information in order for it to sink in, that every single time you go live on a camera, in your Facebook feed, on your Instagram feed, your YouTube, whatever it is, you're practicing. You're building up those muscles of being social and in social ways. Like, this is an unnatural thing to be able to talk into an empty room the same that you would be if you were a person, because I know that the person on the other side of this camera who's listening to this video, who's watching this content, is just where I was 18 months ago, 19 months ago, when I was too terrified to have these kinds of conversations in front of a camera. When I would, it was one of those Jesus take the wheel moments, and it was very, very bad. So now that we're back in communication, now that we're understanding that I know what you're up to, and I know that what you're doing is not because you're trying something new. I know that trying something new is scary. I know that thinking about your business is a ritual action that you have to perfect. You're not going to be the goddamn Pope. He's had 50, 60 years of doing these things. Like Tony Robbins is our Pope of entrepreneurship, right? He's the leader that we look to, because with him, it's the personal development. He's thousands and millions of people into his journey. But his journey needed an improvement. His journey needed a path of mentorship that was not accessible otherwise. Giving people something and a means to consume lower, smaller increments means you can affect more people, creating better, deeper change. So that as you create that better, deeper change, you've got a pause, you've got a breath, you've got the way that you serve and you show up. I sent a few angry emails out, and they built Project Next in the digital product system, and they've also been doing the digital mastermind summits where they bring in all the speakers in all the different categories to elevate everybody, and those speakers get to introduce the pathway of what they've been working on that year and how it's been helping in the marketplace, and that puts those people into a new audience, right? They sent out the email, which was the invocation, the summons, if you will. The people showed up. The people did what they do, what they've practiced, what their rituals are. They contributed to the ceremony that was the Mastermind Summit event. Pete Vargas and the Platform World Tour. $3 million worth of speakers that showed up for free to create a charity event built on this framework of ritual application of your business. Summiting the best in your industry to provide for your industry, to bring out the best of the industry with what's working that year, what's working in the community to serve so that nobody fucking loses. It's not about selling your product at those events. It's about sharing a collaborative event where you can contribute a small portion back into the community so that what you do, how you do it, why you do it, is replicated over and over and over again, and you begin to serve at scale. 13 people was my email list. Now I have a group of 100 entrepreneurs. Now I have a group of 60 witches. Now I'm speaking in front of thousands of witches in the Facebook communities, in their lives and in their community events. So that way what I'm speaking into are terms of power, as methods of manipulating the environment in accordance with our wills. So that way when we light these plants off, we're conjuring the spirits of those plants. And we're, by those spirits, enacting the same kind of changes in our world that we're looking to see. So that by the law of narration, we're giving it a genesis. We know what that path is. We know where it comes from. We know why it's there. We know what it's going to do once it's there, and we know how it's going to be once it's released into the wild of the world. That is the ritual action. We know these things because we study these things, because we apply these things. It's not scary for us. Your business should not be scary to you. If you have a problem with the client journey, if you have a problem with your mentors, if you have a problem and things are not working the way that you need them to go, you need to be able to speak out. You need to be able to pray that you can find that solution. My big hairy goal is that we can bring out the best of people where they're at with what you do. I believe that every business is not in competition with itself or anybody else. I believe that the business owner is responsible for being better than they were, that interaction that they had before, so that they can do it better, they can be better, that they have the opportunity to grow and to be profound by that growth. I believe that with the totality of my being, because back in 2006 I was homeless after all sorts of shit happened to me, right? 2007 rolls around, I start traveling around the country, get screwed by my roommates. Really bad situation, right? But it's being better, seeking better, working in fast food, serving clients, working my way up from a dishwasher to being the one that they put on the register on the night of their concerts, so that when they get overwhelmed that there is a nice clean order to it and nobody is backed up, so that yes, it's like a herd of people, 1,000 people from a concert venue across the street comes to my, I'm slinging burgers and drinks across the way, and we got it down in such a way where it's like, okay, got your order, right? I was a bartender at the main stage at EDC, right? Somebody stole a liquor bottle off my bar that night. That's not the point. The point is I got yelled at for that. But what I didn't get complimented on was the fact that I had 8, 9 different people in order, one way over here, back over here, everybody got their drinks, right? When I was making this guy's drink over here, I was talking to this person to get their drink started, handing it off, and it's a cycle. But it's those things, what they take from you. It doesn't matter. So somebody swiped a bottle of booze. That's not what's important. The point is that everybody else got served. Everybody else got what they needed. And they were getting it faster. They were getting it in tandem with service. And so what do you do when you have to serve en masse? You have to find patterns. You have to look at your business and who you've served, how you've served them, How many thousands of people have you been able to serve to memorize your menu? How many thousands of hours behind a cash register so that you know those buttons by heart? Right? I spent 15 years selling adult toys. What they're made out of, what lubes you should use, what you shouldn't use with it, right? That's information. Why somebody came to me? The same customers would come back for different types of toys because they came for a different thing every single time. It wasn't just because I sold them a burger or fries or again furniture for their bedroom. It was about, that was the Pier 1 job. That was fun. But it was about the stories that you have, It was about the folks that are interested in the weird or the wonderful or, the way that they were trying to make their partner feel for that special anniversary that they had, that they've always wanted to try a strap-on, but they've never been brave enough to stick it in, right? Doing that. Giving that back. Uncomfortable actions, uncomfortable conversations are what I got really good at. And so with what I build in the community that I've got, it's a place to give people that are uncomfortable a chance to have community that they can develop, that they can cultivate, and they can demonstrate that they have not only the individual capacity to work on faith, to work on the individual persona, to work on their thing that will get them out of the fast food job or get them out of the big box store working for some bastard boss that doesn't even understand that the mentorship that they should be offering their employees are lessons that are going to be kept with them for life. When you have somebody who's an employee, they are with you for the journey of your business. The rituals that you do with them washing the floor, them washing the windows, them keeping your products organized, that's only part of it. There has to be more to it. There has to be some way that you can elevate them like you would your ancestors, because you become an ancestor in that respect. You become somebody who either is going to be shit on for your bad behavior, or you get elevated to that next level. And so you earn that level. You earn your placement. And it's the same way that when you do reverence and when you invite the spirits to come speak with you in a ritual setting, is the same reason why you would bring in guest speakers, the same reason why you would bring in vendors, the same reason why you would bring other people to your shop to serve your people best, is because there are people that do it better than you, or better in a way that you don't, so that they can speak to a part of them that you cannot. So that as you learn to speak properly, as you learn to communicate effectively, as you learn to demonstrate these principles in accordance with your congruency, you are able to apply the fact that business is a spiritual pursuit and that you are going to become a master of those rituals over and over and over again, so that as you serve, you can serve better, you can serve deeper, you can serve longer, so that your words are not wasted, so that when you do finally say them, they become a means by which transformation occurs, and then you can sit back and you can say, I changed this person's life because I gave them the tools, I gave them the equipment to bring these changes into their life. And I did it in a way that matches my congruency, and I did it in a way that matches my understanding of what is divine. And it's not because my faith is bigger, it's not because my faith is better, it's not because my God is stronger than yours. It's because I understand that the journey that you're on, you need to have the space where you can find the divine within yourself and your connection to it, and the way that you serve people and other people is through how you develop that. Your purpose in service, the reason you're in business, is the application of this principle in live time. Going through the motions of how your business develops, why your business cultivates, the relationships between your network, how your business interacts with your network, so that way as you create, you become a creator, right? And other people have to live inside your creation. So by the time you are taking it to the marketplace, you need to know that your creation serves. You need to know that how you serve and why you serve is to elevate them, is to elevate their ancestry, is to give them the hope that their interactions with you and the thing that you do is going to be the thing that's going to get them across the finish line, is going to get them into that next step of their life, so that you can serve powerfully with all the techniques, with all the lineage that you have behind you. And that's how you make your business a ritual. That's how you develop it time and time again, so that nobody is left out of your journey. So as you prepare your invocations of what it is that they are, you bring into yourself, who is my customer? How can I serve them? You take this on yourself. You become your customer. You are not your customer when you sell to them. You are the solution to your customer when you sell to them. But when you speak to your customer, when you are in training them to your mode of thought, you have to become them. You have to invoke them. So that way you can evoke them. You can bring them to you. You can summon them to your space by your words, by the copy that you write, by the marketing you produce. That's what you're responsible for as a business owner. These are ritual actions. These are ingredients in your ritual. How do you banish the people that you don't want to deal with? The way that you write your copy, the way that you create your marketing. I don't want anybody who's not of faith to be applying these techniques, because I don't think anybody not of faith will understand the significance of what I've just said. I don't want people that are going to think that this is going to be a get-rich-quick scheme, but I want it to be understood that what you've paid a lot of money, your time, your effort, in order to be able to generate the cost of these 2 lessons, is that it's something that will be profoundly different in your shift. It's not just teaching you what to say. It's not just giving you how to say it. But it's the reasons why you do it over and over and over again. Why you build up a better connection to the marketplace. Why you build up those rote muscles and those thousands and thousands of hours of experience. So that way, as every time it happens, you get better. And every time you get better, you serve a little bit more. You love a little bit deeper. So that way, by the time you're done, it's undeniable that what is exactly the way that it needs to be. Right? The mentorship that you take your employees on is the same kind of love and compassion that you show for your employees, because you took the time to craft your words in a way that will change their environment just as much as it'll change yours. And speaking to them and their power and inviting them into your ritual, summoning them where they're at into your environment, is the act of an exorcist. It's purification of the experience. So you become the steward of power. You become the role model that others look to, because you become the mentor that's capable of stewarding divine application. Because you understand the words that move behind your breath. The divine Allah, the divine breath. Right? Divine action would be the Christian faith. Is what do you do to serve your kingdom? How do you uplift people? Well, you tell them stories through the Bible. You give parables of examples, right? You have a code of conduct that you must follow, standard operating procedures, right? They wash the windows. They they turn on the displays. They count the register down if it's retail, right? They make the phone calls for the day. They check your emails. They do the social media posts. All of these are steps that you repeat every single day. Those are your standard operating procedures. Those are your rituals for a brick and mortar shop. Why you do those things? It's not just to do those things. It's to prepare the environment so that when customers walk in, they understand. So that way application of faith becomes fact. When they cross your register, when they cross your threshold, they know and you know that you are prepared for that interaction. So that all the training that you have, that you can offer, is something that will carry beyond just yourself. It will carry into their experience. It will carry into their bedroom. It will carry into the mouths of what they tell people around you. You know, if you like this, share it. If you like what I have to say, bring other people to this course. It's only 2 lessons. It's very short. But the spells and the rituals and the cultivation of this engagement when it comes to what your business is and how profound it gets are some of the most important understandings you can have as a business owner, because spells are actions you take to cause specific change. That's what it is. That's what the history books say. It's what Mr. Crowley wrote about. Spent his entire life dedicated to rituals of interacting with the higher forces. Poor bastard didn't realize that the most highest force you could serve is the common good. And that's a loss. And so the magic of business needs to have these understandings put back into it. So I hope that you'll carry this stuff with you. And I hope that it'll inspire you to develop your tier programs, your level programs, the interactions of all the things and all the foundations that you have on your heart to do, all the different systems that you can put in place. But that you understand that with this conversation that we have just had, that you now know and you have the application methods to do something, and to do something on purpose, to improve your copy, to improve your relationships with your understanding of people and the client journey that you create. So that way, as you build your business up, it is these things which you go back to over and over and over again, so that as you show up, you can create more change. You can create a better interaction. You can create better manuscripts from the copy that you write in texts that you share in Facebook groups, which then can become books, which then you can talk about in a podcast, which then you can do in client work, which then you can go back through and create courses for. So that way you can then start the process all over again, and you can create these cycles. And you can do that and engage social media. And then you can send those off into emails. And then you can go to events and speak on other people's stages about what it is you've done. So that way you create an entire process of 7 things that you've done. You have replicated the ritual. So I thank you, my friends. And I look forward to seeing you in your journey. So be sure to participate in the Facebook community. Be sure to go live in the group and talk about your journey. And as we go through and we make sure that you have those ritual stagings, what are you doing in the Facebook world, or what are you doing in your comments to be able to help people? How are you trying to structure that initial interaction with people? What does it do for people once they've experienced that? What is the outcome of that? Does that outcome align in your congruency to what you want them to do in the end? You know? It's like, did they buy the toy? Did they like the toy? What did they do with the toy? Did they use it in the water? Did they use it on the land? Did they take it on a train? Did they take it on a plane? If you take your toys on a plane, take your batteries out, because the pressure really will blow the batteries up and it'll ruin your toy. So, when not in use, take the batteries out of your vibrators, right? Prolong life your toys and your batteries. I have said that line in my sleep. When I'm dreaming, like just take your toy, just take the batteries out of it, right? And it's that kind of repetition that you have to love, because you know that if they take the battery out and they get to prolong the life of their toy, then they're going to be able to have that experience longer, over and over again. And that's what your business should be. It should be an orgasm machine. It should be a toy that you provide preservation methods for. How are they going to be able to use it over and over? What's the ritual that they're going to be able to complete with it over and over? Go live. Talk about it. That's your homework from this lesson. Is what is the ritual action that you go through that'll help the longevity of your course? What is the next step of your development? What are the stages you're going to speak on? What are the other ingredients that you need to make your rituals better? And what lessons do you seek as a result? Where do you have to grow so that your improvement serves the legacy you create? So that's all for now, my friends. Until next time.